What up, guys? What up? For the first time in the Dynasty, I'm doing a season recap video that's going to be posted to YouTube because I can't post it to Facebook because, of course, you guys know why. Facebook has, my Facebook page has changed where I can't really load long form videos. So I'm here on YouTube. How you guys doing on this Sunday? Um, Not much going on. Didn't feel too well. Had to take sleeping pills just to sleep. I have an insomnia real bad. My stomach was acting up. I woke up to find that the Detroit Lions were down to the Steelers, and they almost pulled it off, but they lose. But I didn't expect them to win anyway. So there that go. It's the Detroit Lions as it's the Detroit Lions, man. I mean, I don't have I have nothing to say about it, man. It's just like, but and then I was like, after that, I was like, yeah, let me go look at something that's actually winning. Like, hey, my Columbus State Supercharger, we won our conference, and we beat Nebraska in the Fiesta Bowl for Hooch Jr. That's 6 wins without a loss in bowl season, so we're good there. And I came here to discuss a lot of things. It's not just a season recap. It's also discussing what I plan to do for the future, and I'm just going to get it right out right here. We're in the Sun Belt. Of course, I'm playing NCAA Football 14. NCAA Football 14 did not have a playoff. Even if they released the game, if they did do NCAA Football 15, it would have the 14 playoff. And given those metrics, Columbus State would not have made the college football playoff. Given the now method we got, the 12-team playoff, they were the top group of 5 team, they would have been in the playoff. But I can't do playoffs. I can't do the playoff in this series. And that's one of the things I kind of hate about this is the fact that, it's outdated as far as the system. We're still in the BCS system here, and you just have to take it. I'm so invested in this dynasty and this team that I just live with it. But conference realignments are going to happen, and conference realignments are going to happen for the for the Pac-12 mostly because I'm trying to get the Pac-12 back in the conversation in this dynasty. It's my universe, and I want the Pac-12 to actually matter. So, they need one more team to be able to have a conference championship game because having a conference championship game still means something in this series. And that's partly what I like. There's things I like about this era, and there's things I don't like. I don't like the fact that, like, say, Cincinnati got robbed. I don't like the fact that they got robbed. But it goes by conference prestige. If you look at conference prestige right now, Big 12 is number 2. SEC is number 1. ACC is number 4. I mean, the main, of course, I think because of Navy and how strong they are, they beat everybody in their conference, and I think that's making the conference look better than it actually kind of is. But I don't know. And then, of course, you got the SEC number 1. A&M fans, if you're an Aggie fan, at least you're winning in NCAA Football 14. They give you some love here in NCAA Football 14. But I'm going by conference prestige. This may change, of course. I have not simmed past bowl season yet. We're the number 5th conference in the country. There's 10 major conferences in this dynasty, and we are 5. So I want to beef up the Pac-12. As far as the future for Columbia State, I was thinking about going into the Big 12 because I think that would be a good fit for Columbia State. Even though there's a lot of teams that we don't have any legacy in playing a lot, But at the same time, it's like if you want to have be in a conference with higher prestige, the Big 12 will probably be the way to go with that. But I don't know. I mean, North Dakota State was in the Sun Belt. They won 3 national championships in the Sun Belt, and they came out of the Sun Belt. So I still want to take a crack at doing that. I love the conference I'm in. But however, I do believe that Columbus State is on the verge of being in in the big power conferences. We're ready. We are primed to do that. Even though, like I said, there's a lot of things I love about the Sun Belt, and a lot of Sun Belt teams will have to come with me into the Big 12. So my Big 12 will look a whole lot different in the future. I mean, I'm talking about bringing in Appalachian State, Furman. I'm going to put MTSU in our conference, so they will replace one of our teams in our conference. MTSU will definitely come with me into the Big 12 if we do that. I'm not looking to do that next year. I don't think the Columbus State Supercharger. I think we have a lot to still prove in the Sun Belt. We went 2 years without winning the damn thing, not winning a Sun Belt Conference championship. We went through all that, and we've only been in the Sun Belt. Well, this will be actually the 4th year that we've been in the Sun Belt. So my whole thing is we need to be there a little bit longer before I make the jump. I would like to win another conference championship before I jump over into the big boys in the Big 12. I would like to do that first. So I think another year or two of being in the Sun Belt, I think the Supercharger will be ready. I'm trying not to rush that decision to put us in a Power 5 conference yet. Mainly because I like the conference I'm in. It's a good conference. It's a lot of regional natural rivals in that conference, and then we're bringing in MTSU. That'll be a big rival that we'll have in the conference with us. And I like the way that sounds. I like our conference. I like Coastal. I like Appalachian State. I like Furman. We're not just running over these teams. We ran over them this year, but 2 years ago they were owning me, So I don't think I'm going to rush putting the Columbus State Supercharger in a Power 5 conference yet. And I say Power 5 because I count Pac-12. Pac-12 is going to be a power conference again, especially the way I do realignments on that conference. So that conference will be big. The Big 12 will be big. And, of course, the SEC and the Big 10, I'm not touching those. They're the way they are in this series. The ACC, I think I got that pretty much aligned the way I want it. The only thing I say that's going to probably be bad is these mid-major programs, the Conference USA, the MAC, the American, which is going to change a lot because I'm making changes to that. A lot of these teams that are in Conference USA are going to go over to the American, and the teams that are in the American are going to go to Conference USA. So that's another conference realignment thing I'm going to do. I don't really want to touch the MAC. I mean, I really don't. And Mountain West, these conferences, the four, these four mid-major conferences have the 8 to 10 teams, 8 to 10 teams. If I do realignments, they're going to lose a lot of what they already have. And they already are at the bottom, but they're going to be a little more at the bottom because you won't have even teams. Like you may have 7 teams in the Mountain West. I mean, because of all the conference realignments I'm about to do. And I'm trying not to do that. I don't want to shortchange these conferences any more than they already are. But I definitely need to get the Pac-12 back to where they can be competitive and have a conference championship game. These conferences over here, the last 4, do not have an actual conference championship game. Only the big boys will have a conference championship game. The SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10, the ACC. Sun Belt, of course, us, and the Pac-12. The Sun Belt may take a lot of losses if I make the move to the Big 12. I want to bring some familiarity over into that conference with me. So I do want to include Appalachian State. I do want to include Furman. I do want to include, MTSU when I make the move over there. I don't want to just be like, oh well, we're just going to play all the teams that are in the Pac-12, in the Big 12, because a lot of what the Big 12 is in this game, like I said, it's going to change. I'm looking to put BYU in the Pac-12. I really don't want to take any team that's been in the Pac-12 and in the Pac-12 and take them out of the Big 12 and put them back in the Pac-12. I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to make a lot. There's going to be a lot of conference realignments in the next few years. But for right now, I'm not looking to move Columbia State to the Big 12 right now. I'm kind of being patient on that. Give us a little more time in the Sun Belt. I'd like to win another conference championship. I would like to see even us make it to a national championship coming out of the Sun Belt. I think that's possible. North Dakota State did it 3 times. Why can't we do it? I love my conference. I really don't want to give up this conference, but the way it's looking, if you want to be in the conversation for a national championship a little bit easier, yeah, I think I have to be in the Big 12. I don't want to put us in the SEC because I don't think we have natural. I mean, the SEC is kind of like formidable in the way they do things. I don't want to really change what the Big 12, what the SEC looks like. I really don't. But with the Big 12, I mean, you could put anybody in there. Cincinnati's in there. UCF is in there. Teams you would not think would be in the Big 12 are in the Big 12. So I think it would be a perfect fit for Columbia State. I really do. I think it'd be a perfect fit for Columbia State. But right now, I'm not looking to make that move just yet. All right. And that's my discussion about the future of this conference as it stands right now. In fact, us not making a national championship game, I don't feel like we were robbed. I feel like, I kind of feel like Cincinnati got robbed, actually, because Cincinnati only had 1 loss. They won their conference championship. A&M had 2 losses, and they were picked to be in the national championship because of conference prestige. SEC is up there. The SEC is up there. Big 12 ain't too far from them, though. So, I mean, that's why I kind of hate the old system. I mean, I do like college football at this time because I think it was a lot more fun back then. But you don't miss the fact that some teams don't have an opportunity to play for a national championship. Now, at least you have a playoff system where a team has a chance to play for a national championship. So, hey, the system is better on that score. They need to tweak it, though. Definitely need to tweak it. You shouldn't have 2 G5 schools in the playoff. I just believe that. Hey, 1 is enough. JMU, I could see that. Tulane, not really. I couldn't see Tulane. But guys, here we go. See, year 16. Year 16 was special. And kind of reminded me of year 13. We came into the Sun Belt. That's my first year in the Sun Belt. And we won all our games except for, of course, that game against Alabama. We ended up winning the Sun Belt Conference Championship, and we ended up beating Navy in the Orange Bowl. That was the top of the mountain right there. Didn't play for a national championship, though. And we didn't play for a national championship this year. Because we took and I always will go back to the fact that, yeah, that loss against Colorado probably damaged me more than anything. That loss against Colorado probably, if I didn't take that loss, we're probably in there. But yeah, we lost to Colorado 24-18. It was a sackathon to Frederick. We were down 24-0 in the first half, and the Columbus State Supercharger defense held them out of the end zone and didn't allow them to score any points in the second half. We put up 18 points in the second half and made it a game, but by then it was too late. And you kind of look at Colorado's record. They're 4-8, 2-7 in their conference. That was a horrible loss. You can't take losses like that. First downs, I mean, we beat them in first downs. Total offense, 301 yards to 260. But look at those numbers running the ball. Of course, they take off the fact we gave up 14 sacks in this game. So that hurts our rushing numbers. We were way below even zero. I mean, we held their rushing attack down, but when you're getting sacked like that, you can have 81 yards rushing and you'll win the game. And that's what Colorado did. I mean, that is a lot of passing. 51 passes. They passed the ball 22 times. We passed it 51. Went 7 for 17 on third down. They were 1 of 8, but it didn't really matter. And I'm going to say why. It's going to come up. I mean, 5 red zone trips, 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. They had 2 red zone trips and 1 touchdown. We turned the ball over. I mean, we turned the ball over twice. We made them turn the ball over 5 times, but I guess we didn't capitalize on it or something because we didn't. I don't think we got anything offensively because we just couldn't move the ball offensively because Frederick was on the ground a lot. Made them fumble too a lot. Both teams threw 2 interceptions. Beat them in total yards. Both teams punted 5 times. We held time possession. Didn't even matter. And we'll just look at our stats. Frederick threw 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. But like I said, he had to throw the ball way more times than I would want him to. But at the same time, I really went into this season thinking that the passing game was the bee's knees and we didn't need a running game too much because I had a senior quarterback. I had these great receivers. I didn't account for the fact that the offensive line was not great in pass pro at this point. How many times was he, 14? I mean, he was sacked 14 times. I mean, terrible game for our offensive line. Frederick didn't even have time to breathe. I mean, just the sacks that he got on him, almost 100 yards of yards are gone because of those sacks to Frederick. Palmer, 11 carries, 46 yards, 4.1 star carry. Pretty good. But of course, when you get down 24-0, you're not going to run the ball as much. So he didn't get his time to shine. But even in that, pretty good numbers for Jake Palmer. Bush had a great game. 10 catches, 145 yards. He didn't score a touchdown, but he basically was the only reason why we even moved the ball because he kept getting open. Palmer had some 9 catches and a touchdown. Everybody else kind of was lean. Nobody else was making plays for us in the receiving department. And everybody gave up sacks, everybody. Even Barnes, who I put in there because I was frustrated, he gave up 2 sacks in this game. Floyd gave up 3. Poland gave up 2. Coleman gave up 3 early. A lot of the sacks that were happening came from his side early. Cox gave up a sack. DeAngelis, our starting center, gave up a sack. Defensively, I mean, we got 2 sacks. We even got a pick from Terrence Reynolds. But really nothing. I mean, Morrison got a sack. Graves got a pick. And that looks great. I mean, that looks like a good defensive performance by our defense. It's just unfortunate that, Colorado's defense was a lot better than theirs because they got 14 sacks that day. 14 sacks that day. Sullivan made his kicks. That's when I knew I had a kicker at least that could make field goals. That's great. We punted 5 times. And when you punt the ball 5 times, usually not good for us. That means our offense is not really moving the ball. Antoine Anderson did good on the kick returns. On returns, he did pretty good too. Like I said, this was the first game of the season, and I was excited to start the season. I thought Colorado, of course, only went 1-11 last year. I thought it would be a really easy win, and it turned out that we got ambushed in Boulder, and that was our first loss of this. That was the start of the season, and that was our only loss of the season. And I think about it all the time. If I did not lose this game, probably in a national championship conversation, but that loss, and it was a bad loss. Colorado is a 4-8 team. You can't take losses like that. Can't. I know it's early in the season, but in this game, in this universe that I got, there is no playoff to save you. You basically have to win your games, and I kind of like that. Hey, we never had an undefeated season in this series. I'd like to have an undefeated season. I didn't, maybe next year I could see it because we got a lot of underclassmen coming back. I'll talk about that later. But we take that loss, man. And right then and there, I was questioning my offensive line. I was talking about moving people around. I was doing all sorts of things. I was looking at sliders, but I didn't want to push up the pass blocking slider because it's been the same slider at 30 on Heisman. It's been that same slider for 4 or 5 years since I've been doing this. That slider has been at 30. I didn't want to change that slider because I said, hey, if my offensive line's not producing and not doing pass protection, we probably need to make some changes on the offensive line. So that's what I did. But I decided to let the starting offensive line play the next game. And that was against our first time playing FCS school. We defeat the FCS Southeast Pirates 45-14. That was a good win for us. Nope, I don't want that. Just more info. In this game, our offense, basically was fire. Defense was fire. Everything was firing pretty much on all cylinders. We had some pass protection problems in this game, though, a little bit. But yeah, 20-15. That's kind of close considering that we're playing an FCS team. And it even got me close in yards. We both I had 300, close to 400 yards. They had over 300 yards. Kind of unacceptable. We don't need to do that against the FCS team. You kind of want a more dominant performance, but we ran the ball pretty well. 31 attempts, 108 yards isn't nothing to smile about because that's way under 5 yards per carry. But we outgained them on the ground. That's the main thing I wanted to focus on was getting them on the ground. I wanted to establish a running game. I said we should be able to run the ball on the FCS school. Not great, but okay, Passing the ball, we passed it 35 times, but we actually did pretty good in execution, got 3 touchdown passes, 269 yards passing there, 244. We were at 50% on third down. They were under it. 6 red zone trips, 4 touchdowns, and a field goal. They had 2 red zone trips and 1 touchdown. So we were really good in the red zone. Forced 3 turnovers off the FCS school. We had no turnovers. That's the other thing I wanted to get. We had turnovers in the Colorado game. I had no turnovers in this game. So that was great. And we had 461 yards to their 327. We punted the ball only 3 times. They punted 5. And we lost the time possession, which usually spells that we're going to lose the game. But I think because they turned the ball over or because, they just weren't inept sort of offensively in some ways, we were able to dominate them with the win. Our defense really won the day in this game. Really good defense. I remember Marcus Branch, my bench quarterback, went 4-4, 55 yards and a touchdown to Thomas Bush. And I was like, man, he's got a better arm than Rodney Frederick do. And maybe he's the future. Marcus Branch may be my starting quarterback next year. I can see myself having Tony Thomas still doing the Weber package. I don't think Tony Thomas is a every down sort of quarterback. He's kind of a specialty quarterback. But I think if I put Marcus Branch in there, I think he has a really good arm. He could be the future of the Supercharger going into year 17. Frederick, 23 of 29, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. But he was sacked 6 times. So that's 20 sacks in 2 games. So I'm like looking at the offensive line and said, yeah, I got to make some changes. And I actually did make changes after this game because I was like, we can't give up sacks to an FCS team. We're giving up sacks to an FCS team. We're screwed out the gate, Palmer only had 57 yards, but it was 4.7 yards a carry. He had 2 touchdowns. Thomas had 23 yards. He's my gadget quarterback, had 23 of 23. That's pretty damn good. Leroy Davis, 13 yards a carry on 3 carries. Pretty damn good. Leroy Davis didn't get the ball enough, in my opinion. But there was that sack yardage. that goes against our total rush yards right there when you had that sack. That's 32 yards. So you attack that 32 yards to that 100 and whatever we got, 108. That's 140 yards we could have had rushing and running the ball. But no, that's taken off because Rodney Frederick got sacked, 6 times. It's just inexcusable. Shouldn't happen. Palmer led us in catches, 6 for 38, but it was Tanner Bush who showed out, 5 catches, 81 yards, a touchdown. McNeil had 5 catches, 32 yards, and a touchdown. Benson, 4 for 39, and a touchdown. Roy Davis caught for 3 for 17. Pretty good day. And I like the fact that McNeil kind of showed up, Benson showed up. So we had a stumble with Colorado with the offense passing the ball. We get it kind of right here against an FCS school, but that's what you should do. I ended up benching Vincent Coleman. He's my upperclassman junior right. I think he's my left guard. I ended up benching him and putting in Jimmy Barnes, and Jimmy Barnes did good. Didn't give up a sack. So that's pretty good. And that's when I started making offensive line changes. Newberry, of course, had a pick, and I keep forgetting that I should have mentioned Jeremy Newberry more. He was a very great player for us this year on defense. Could have been sophomore of the year, Supercharger sophomore of the year on defense if Brian Madison didn't show up. Brian Madison was that dude. So we'll talk more about him later. Newberry is a sophomore. He'll be a junior next year, and I'm glad he's coming back because he's a big playmaker. Frank Morrison with a sack, my senior defensive tackle. Thompson with a sack. I'm trying to think who Thompson was. I must have had more of the backups in. I think Thompson is. Yeah, Thompson's on the defensive line. Yeah. He's in the second tier of the defense right now. Sullivan made 1 or 2 of his kicks. We punted 3 times. I think they punted 5. And this was a get right game, and we got right. We needed that cupcake. We needed a cupcake, man. And we got that cupcake, Needed that after that loss to Colorado. We take care of business 45-14. I feel a little bit better. But, of course, I had to play Virginia Tech and Blacksburg on the road. And we get it done, 38-21. Close game to start with. But then I started figuring something out. And I think I figured it out what we are offensively. We're not a team that's just going to pass all over you. We have to have some kind of running identity. And I'm shocked about this because I'm just looking at Virginia Tech went 5-7 in their on the schedule this year. I thought they were a lot better than that, but they weren't ranked to start the season, so I guess they fell off a little bit from what they used to do. Plus, they had a murderer's row of a schedule. I mean, you're playing Navy, you're playing Notre Dame, you're playing Army. Really good teams in the ACC, and of course, in Notre Dame is still independent. That's a rough schedule, and I guess that's what get them in. 18-13 on first down, so we got them there. Yards to offense was humming. Ran the ball a lot better than we usually do, even though those numbers don't look great, but at least we're putting up rushing yards. Passed the ball 39 times for 4 touchdowns, 375 yards to 123. We were mid-tier on third down. They were at 30% on third down. Not good. Not good for Virginia Tech. 3 red zone trips, 1 touchdown, 1 field goal. They had 2 red zone trips and 2 touchdowns. We both turned the ball over 3 times. Rodney Frederick started the game off hot. He was making those passes, got us 3 touchdowns, and then later the mistakes started happening when I kept trying to pass the ball. That's when I was like, you know what? We need to take the ball out of the hometown hero's hands. As much as I love Rodney Frederick, we can't afford for him to turn the football over. He turned over too many times, and I started to run the ball a little bit better. And I think once I did that, the game sort of calmed down. Total yards got him. Punted the ball 3 times. They punted it 5. and we held time of possession. We'll get to our stats here. Tony Thomas 2 for 4, and even he had a touchdown pass. Yeah, and that was that dump off to Jake Palmer, and he got a touchdown off of that. And that was a really big play for us, kind of swung the game our direction. And Rodney Frederick was great, but in the first half, but in the second half, it was just terrible. I had to stop passing the ball with him because we were throwing a lot of picks. No one got sacked though. No one got sacked. So we did good in addressing the offensive line problems. We did a good job with that. We need to do that in order to establish our offense a little bit better. Palmer, 18 of 57, 3.1 yards carry is not great. But Laurie Davis showed out. Four attempts for 33 yards, 8.2 yards a carry, and a touchdown is great. And there's no minuses here. We don't have we put up yards, then we didn't lose yards because of sacks. That is golden. We needed all these yards to beat Virginia Tech. But Palmer was great catching the ball. They were kind of taking him away as far as running the ball, but as far as catching the ball, he did his job. 9 catches, 97 yards, and a touchdown. We started to lean on him for that, but Dwight McNeil 8, man. 7 catches, 141 yards. Didn't score any touchdowns, but that's big. We were able to move the ball downfield with McNeil. 3 catches for 42 yards for Benson. Garrett Davison was huge in this game. Two of his 3 catches were for touchdowns. We just took it deep because the guy kept playing press coverage on him, and the safety was kind of far off. I said, if he can beat him, that's an easy touchdown, and we took advantage of it twice and got 2 touchdowns off of that. And Jay Royal, backup tight end, had a touchdown catch in this game. So pretty good on passing the ball, except for the picks. The offensive line definitely showed up in this game, protected my boy, and didn't allow him to get sacked. But of course, Frederick had the interception problems. I had to back the ball off, give him the ball a lot for him to pass it because I just didn't feel comfortable because he was just throwing picks too much. Some of them were on me. I made wrong reads and things like that, but some passes you just didn't get enough on it and ended up getting picked off. Hargrove had a sack in this game. We don't hear a lot about Demetrius Hargrove. Hargrove, of course, is an All-American. Hasn't had a really good 2 seasons, really, and I haven't got much from him. But, he got a sack in this game. Brian Madison started showing up, got me a sack. Interception by Terrence Reynolds. So Terrence Reynolds doing his thing. Frank Morrison with a sack. And Antoine Anderson, corner that's low the depth chart, had a pick in this game. That's pretty good. Kicking, Sullivan made his only kick. Punting, we punted 3 times. Bush is put back in kick returns. He did a good job for kick returns for 117 yards. He's also on the punt return team. And we get a win here in Blacksburg against Virginia Tech. Pretty decent win, though you can look at it and say, well, you can kind of look at it and say, well, it's a good win, but was Virginia Tech really that good? And you look at their record, they're not really that good. But that's a big win anyway. It's on the road against the ACC conference team. I've been wanting to play against Virginia Tech for a while. And that was one of the best games, I think one of the best games of the year as far as engaging me and getting me excited. I mean, that was a really good game, really close game to start with. First half was a battle, and then the second half we kind of took it away, which was a good thing. Week 4, we get a bye. Oregon shut out Rice. Rice had a terrible season. Jesus Christ. Where's Kentucky beat Coastal Carolina? Badly. East Washington edges out over Old Dominion. These new teams that are in our conference took a dump this year. UAB took a dump. They could have won against Tulane, but they weren't going to win against Tulane. So that was the Sun Belt Conference schedule week 4. We had a bye. We come back and we play our last conference opponent, which is Idaho. Idaho is still in the game. I know Idaho is not in the FBS anymore, but they're here in my universe. We beat them 27-10. This was expected. We're supposed to dominate Idaho. Idaho's not really competing on that big level anymore. They were pretty decent early in the series, but they kind of fell off. They're not really doing anything. I mean, they were good for at least making a bowl game. Now that's changed. Um, First downs 23-18, 425 yards to 318. Ran the ball really well. I will say that. We were starting to lean on the ground game a little bit. Less passes for our boy Rodney Frederick, 26 attempts. No touchdowns, of course, in the game. Passing yards a little bit. They were really good Idaho was really good on third down. We sucked on third down in this game. And I think I was frustrated in the first half. Very frustrated in the first half. Second half, we kind of turned it back on. They had 2 red zone trips and 1 field goal. We had 5 red zone trips, 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. We didn't turn the ball over. We forced Idaho to turn the ball over, and that was off a fumble. Total yards, got them. They punted 3, we punted once, and we held time possession. Rodney Frederick went 17 of 24 for 192 yards, no touchdowns, and was sacked twice, which I can live with. Sacks are going to happen at times. Sacks are going to happen. I'm fine with it. But I think they sort of backed off of the blitz of coming after Frederick because we just ran the ball, especially in the second half. I think we got to the point where we're like, okay, I realize what this offense is about. We're about running the football. We're not about just Frederick dominating. I wanted to get Frederick a lot of good, great numbers. It was his last season. He's a senior. He's the hometown hero. I wanted him to eat. But, man, when I saw it was kind of hurting our team and not helping us get wins, I said, you know what? We got to run the football. We got Jake Palmer, and he showed up and showed out in this game. 15 attempts, 113 yards, 7.5 yards a carry, and 2 touchdowns. Davis behind him was eating, 8 for 79, 9.8 yards a carry and a touchdown. 4 for 22 for Thomas running as my gadget quarterback. I only had 24 yards lost to sacks. I can live with that. Not bad, especially when you're running the ball like this. So I like that. McNeil, 9 catches, 107 yards. That's great. McNeil was separating himself as our best receiver. He's my senior receiver. Begged for him to come back for this season. He was going to leave early. He decided to stay, and he ate, man. He was the best receiver this year. 5 catches, 72 yards for Palmer. Benson had 2 catches. Didn't pass the ball a lot because we ran the ball very, very well. And Davis and Cox gave up the sacks. Barnes, my redshirt freshman guard, gave up no sacks. So I was really liking Barnes. Barnes was really proving himself on the offensive line. Brian Madison had a sack, so he's starting to do that thing where he's getting sacks, a sack per game or 2 sacks per game. He's living it. Will Golden, the senior, also an end, got a sack. Frank Morrison, of course, got a sack. Brian Gillett got a sack. And we forced a turnover off a fumble. Who got the fumble recovery? They say Will Golden forced the fumble, and Brian Madison recovered it. So, cool beans. 2 of 3 for Sammy Sullivan. Only punted once. Tanner Bush, living with those punt yards, had 44 yards per return. That's pretty damn good. And, yeah. So I like that. We kind of struggled in the first half. I can see that. Can I see that again? Kind of struggled in the first half. I was like, okay, we're down. We were down 10-3 at the half. And then we went on a 24-0 run in the second half and put the game away. So a good win, win that I feel pretty good about. We needed to, of course, Idaho was a team I scheduled after Virginia Tech because I knew Virginia Tech was going to be a real big test for us. And we kind of passed it with flying colors, especially in the second half, but we kind of had that struggle in the first half. Didn't like that. Hopefully, I hope we have more of a complete game come next week. And we play Rice, and we dominate Rice. Rice went 0-12. This is their first year in the Sun Belt, and they struggled mightily. Did not have a good season. They scored a touchdown in the first quarter, and they scored a touchdown in the fourth quarter, and that was it. But we kept scoring on them. Really picked them apart there at Rice. Was not a good game for them. 20-9 on first downs. Total offense, 492 yards to 237. We ran the ball really well. And they ran the ball. They couldn't run the ball at all. And we also scored touchdowns in the air, 20-27 for three touchdowns. 229 passing yards to 230. Third down, we were at 54%. They were at 38%. Fourth down, we got that. 6 red zone trips, 6 touchdowns. They had 3 red zone trips, 2 touchdowns. We did have some turnovers, though. 2 turnovers to their 3, and those were off fumbles. We fumbled the ball, not by interceptions. 558 yards to 255. We punted 3 times. They punted 6, and we own time possession. Wait. Marcus Branch came in for 1 play. I imagine when we had the game won, he had 1 pass for 51 yards, a big play. Frederick did good. 16-22, 247 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. 3 of 4 and 31 yards for Tony Thomas. And the line gave up at least 3 sacks, which is fine. It's better than giving up 14. It's better than 14 giving up 14 sacks. Palmer had another great game. 21 attempts, 115 yards, 5.4 yards a carry for 2 touchdowns. Laurie Davis had 10 attempts, 51 yards, 5.1 yards a carry. 3 for 15 for Tanner Bush on some runs, had a touchdown. Chris Nash had a touchdown off a run for 1 yard. But, yeah. Collins. We have some lost yardage here, but for the most part, if your running backs are running like this, you can afford some losses on yards on some of these jet sweeps or giving the running receiver the ball in a jet sweep and all that stuff. And some sacks, sack yardage loss. Not bad. I'm surprised because I think in this game, both the running game and the passing game came together. Palmer, 8 catches, 61 yards. Tanner Bush, 3 catches, 74 yards and a touchdown. 3 of 87 for Dwight McNeil. 2 for 29 for Benson. And a touchdown pass to Leroy Davis. And Cox gave up 2 sacks. Poland gave up 1. I think Poland's a backup. So that's not bad for our line. Not bad at all. Newberry had a sack. Fernandez, I keep forgetting about Darren Fernandez, had an interception. Will Golden had 2 sacks in this game. Brian Gillett had a sack. And Terrence Reynolds had an interception. And Harris, my backup defensive end, had a sack. And Ross, a backup safety I got. Yeah, he had an interception. So the defense ate in this game, suffocated Rice, and got a pretty easy win. We didn't need Sullivan to kick any field goals. We punted 3 times. Decent returning yardage, not great. But you get the win. You get our first conference win of the year. Destroy Rice, which was easy because Rice sucked. Rice will probably not be in my conference next year. I'm probably going to move them to the American Conference, to be honest with you, because Louisiana Tech is supposed to come into the Sun Belt anyway, so I'll just have Louisiana Tech take their place. But Rice had a rough time in our conference. They had a really rough year. And then we played the biggest game on this. Well, wait a minute. Oh, we had another bye week. App State beat Austin Peay State, keeping their stuff alive for the most part. Rice took another really horrible loss. Chattanooga won a game, Of course, it was a 1-11 UAB team, so I don't know how much you could celebrate. Georgia State dominated Marshall, but who wasn't dominating Marshall? And Georgia Southern and Furman beat down Georgia Southern. We had a bye week, week 7. We come back and we had to play Appalachian State. To me, this was a game where I would just, man, in my opinion, this was the best game of the year as far as just competitive defensive football. I don't think we got tested by anybody like we got tested against Appalachian State. Appalachian State's the real deal. They don't have a conference championship, but every time I play them, these games are really interesting. And it happens again. 21st downs to 10, 312 yards to 237. We did not run the ball great at all, but we held their running game in check too. We kind of had to lean on some of the passing. So 40 attempts for passing, 239 yards to 199. Both teams were under 50% on third down, but they were way under 50%. We scored 4. We had 4 red zone trips, 2 touchdowns, 1 field goal. And they had 2 red zone trips and just a field goal. We turned the ball over 3 times, only forcing a turnover. So that's not good. This was battle. 422 yards to 270. We punted 3 times, they punted 5, and we held time possession. We ran the ball a little bit because we have to, because Frederick will have a great game, and then he'll have a really bad game. And in this game, he moved the ball downfield, got 239 yards, but he also had 2 picks, which was not good. I don't know how many times he got sacked. He got sacked 3 times. So the Lions giving up a little bit more sacks. This is a better team. This is one of the better teams we played this year. Palmer was held in check, but he did get 2 touchdowns. But 3.3 yards a carry is not great. Frederick, of course, gave up both the sacks. 3 jet sweep for 3 jet sweep runs from Thomas Bush for 50 yards. Running game was not great. Running game was not great in this game. But Palmer was very important in moving the ball, moving the sticks. 12 catches, 51 yards. That's where if he couldn't give you running the ball, he would get you catching the ball. So that helped us out. 5 catches, 51 yards for Neal. 4 catches, 49 yards for Bush. 4 for 41 for Benson. So we didn't have the explosive offensive play that you would expect. We were playing a really good defense. Really good defense. But our defense is pretty good too. One thing I learned about this game, our defense is pretty good too. 2 sacks by Will Golden. Interception by Terrence Reynolds. And a sack by Demick Gray, who is like a defensive tackle who's like way down the depth chart. But he got in the game. But these aren't explosive numbers. You can look at Will Golden had a great game. Should have made player of the game. Who do I got as player of that game? I don't know. I forget. 1 of 3 for Sammy Sullivan. He was human. Didn't make all his kicks. 3 punts. Kick return yardage. That's very important in a very close game. Tanner Bush gave me that. 22 yards per return. And 10 yards per return with the punts. This was a close game, man. But our quarterback was terrible. 13 of 33 for an interception. Jeez. We held their running backs in check. We gave up 3 sacks. I was wondering about Holloway. What do he do? Okay, he got a pick. Yeah, he's really good. Dante Holloway is that dude. He's that dude. But that was a scary game. It was really close. They had us down 10-3 in the first half, and we went on But my defense really showed up. We got 2 touchdowns in the second half, shut them out in the second half. And we get a close 70-10 win. Probably the most competitive game I played all season was against Appalachian State. That was scary. And then we had to play Furman next week. And Furman's a really good team, really good defense. But we won the game a little bit more comfortably than I did against Appalachian State. Got them in first downs, got them in total yards. We both teams ran the ball really well in this game. But we had 4 touchdowns running the football. So that I think that was the difference. Our running game came to the fore. We allowed some runs, but we didn't, we allowed running, but we didn't let them score. 175 passing yards to 124. We were mid-tier on third down. They were way under it. They went for it on fourth down and didn't convert. 4 red zone trips, 1 touchdown, 1 field goal. We had 3 red zone trips and 3 touchdowns. I think that's the difference in the game. We did have 1 turnover. We did turn the football over off a fumble. 453 yards to 295. We both punted 4 times. Stats really kind of say that this game should have been a lot closer than what it should have been. But I think we took care of business. We just got it in the end zone more than they did. I think that's the main key. We just got it in the end zone more than they did. Frederick had a pretty good game, 19 of 24, 156 yards. Didn't throw a pick. Got sacked twice. Palmer was pretty decent, got us 3 touchdowns. Only had 3.9 yards a carry. Of course, that's close to 4 yards, so he did okay. Any big running plays? Yeah, well, Davison did good. Had 2 runs, jet sweeps, got a touchdown. Pretty good. Receiving, Palmer 9 for 59, Benson 439, McNeil 219. We just scored running the ball in. And our defense, Brian Madsen had a sack. And that was pretty much it. No one got a pick or anything. Bolden had 4 tackles for loss. And Madison, of course, had 3 tackles for loss. No kicks from Sullivan. Punted the ball 4 times. Darren Bush good on the kick returns. Yeah, we won this game a little bit more comfortably than we did against Appalachian State. I just think because we punched it in the end zone. And our defense, though not making big plays, kept them from scoring. Held them to 13 yards in this game. Pretty good. And then, of course, we played Georgia State, and we destroyed Georgia State 42-3. See the numbers, 24 first downs to 9, 463 yards to 175. Running the football at max now. Now we're running the football. We're not really passing it a whole bunch. We're running the football. Even though we had 23 for 29, that's pretty good passing numbers for Frederick. 3 touchdowns, 300 yards passing, 10 of 13 on third down. We killed them on third down. They were way, 2 of 12 is terrible. We went for it on fourth down twice. We converted twice. 5 red zone trips, 5 touchdowns. They had 1 red zone trip, 1 field goal. And we had, did we have 3 turnovers or? We had 3 turnovers in this game. Really? I threw 2 interceptions. Only forced 1 turnover. Still won convincingly though. Very convincingly. Jeez. Yeah, Frederick threw a pick, but he did throw 3 touchdowns, so you can't hate on him too much. Thomas 2 for 4 and a touchdown, so he threw a touchdown. Got sacked. Both quarterbacks got sacked 4 times. Running the ball, Palmer was doing his thing. 4.4 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. Lori Davis 6 for 26. Bush 6 for 48. So we're putting up the rushing numbers. Losing yards, but mostly gaining yards on running the football. 6 for 50 and a touchdown for Benson. 6 for 75 and a touchdown for Thomas Bush. 4 catches, 63 yards and a touchdown for Palmer. 4 for 59 for McNeil. Pretty good, pretty good. DeAngelis gave up a sack. Rogers and Floyd gave up sacks. Probably had the backups in on the offensive line, so yeah. Dylan Bell had a pick. Newberry had a sack. Brian Madison had 2 sacks. And yeah, defense looking good. Carrying the day like they usually did. Sullivan missed a field goal. I know we punted at least once. 2 for 69 for Thomas Bush. 6 of 75. Oh, that's big. 6 punt returns, 75 yards for our boy Thomas Bush in that game. Pretty good. We did punt, didn't we? Punt. We didn't punt? We just kept scoring? Really? I'm shocked by that. I mean, but we won 42-3. I mean, this wasn't even a game. Georgia State, of course, had a terrible season, 4 of 8. Beat them handily. Even when we were making our mistakes, still won games. So that's a sign of a good team. Week 11, we play Chattanooga. Probably play Chattanooga as a division rival for the last time. MTSU will likely replace them. I'm ready to move on from the Chattanooga. Chattanooga's been following us since the series started. So I think having MTSU would be a better rival than having Chattanooga in there. Chattanooga is, of course, a perpetual loser. They always have losing seasons. They went 4-8. I can only remember them having one season where they actually won more than they lost, and that was a long time ago. But we dominate them. I kind of thought we would dominate them a little bit more. I thought we put more points on the board, but didn't need to. 20 of 15 on first down, so killed them there. 365 yards to 18. Ran the ball superbly well. 41 attempts, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns. 19 of 18, 236 yards to 13. Third down, pretty good. Pretty decent. Theirs was way bad, way under. Went for it on fourth down, converted. Had 5 red zone trips, 2 touchdowns, 3 field goals. They had 2 red zone trips and just a field goal. We did turn the football over, but they made a turnover twice. Those are awful. They lost a fumble, and they got intercepted. Total yards, 462 to 227. We punted once. We only punted once. They punted 3 times. And we held time possession very, very well. They had no answers. Frederick 16 of 24, 211 yards, but he did have a pick and no touchdown. So there you go with that. 3 of 3, 25 yards for Thomas. And Branch had a pass, but he ain't completed it. Probably in crunch time and cleanup time. Palmer, 18 rushes, 800 yards, 5.5 yards to carry, 2 touchdowns. It's going to win you games. Lawry Davis had 8 carries. Didn't really show out. 3.6 yards a carry. Not great. We did take some sacks. McGill, the backup halfback, McGill. 1 carry, 28 yards. So spruce the rushing numbers up a bit. Receiving, 6 catches, 57 yards for Palmer. 5 for 73 for McNeil. Lawry Davis had 3 catches, 25 yards. Not much to write home about in the passing game. Poland gave up a sack. Cox gave up. Barnes actually did give up a sack in this game. Defensively, sack for Golden, sack for Frank Morrison, sack for Gillett, interception by Bolden. That's big. He's a linebacker, and I'm not used to him making plays like that, but he got an interception in this game. A sack for our backup defensive end, Thompson. So that's pretty good right there. We had a game where Sullivan made all 4 of his kicks. All 4 of his kicks, made all of them. We did get in the end zone, but we let him kick the ball. And I think he got player of the game for that. Mike Swanson punted once. McNeil, 2. I don't even know why McNeil's back on kick returns. I don't know why he's there, but Thomas Bush did pretty good. Also did pretty good. But yeah, we dominate Chattanooga. Prior last time playing them as conference rivals. I'll see them again, but not as conference rivals. And then we had the big game. Austin Peay State was ranked at this time. They were ranked. They were ranked higher than we were. They were giving all the love, more love than I was, and we came in there and we stomped the Governors out, 45-17. First downs got them by 5. Total offense 442 to their 250. Rushed the ball extremely well. Frederick was pinpoint accurate, 18-19, a touchdown, 222 yards passing, 5 of 9 on third down. They were 2 of 12. They went for it on fourth down 3 times, got it twice. 2 red zone trips, 1 touchdown, 1 field goal for them. 5 red zone trips, 3 touchdowns, and 2 field goals for me. We both had a turnover, all fumbles. 562 yards to 261. They punted 5 times. We only punted once, and we held time possession. Another dominant game for the Superchargers. 16-17, 212, and a touchdown for Frederick. When you're running the ball that well, you don't have to pass as much. When your defense is playing great, you don't have to pass as much. That's the one thing I learned this year. Defense is playing great, you can just leave it alone. Palmer, 18 carries, 52 yards, 0.8 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns, which is terrible, except for the 2 touchdowns, of course. Well, Leroy Davis comes in and saves the day rushing the ball. 7 carries, 111 yards, 15 8-point yards a carry, and a touchdown for him. Frederick on jet sweeps, 3 rushes, 367 yards, and a touchdown for him. Receiving, 8 catches, 80 yards for our boy Palmer. So, of course, can't run the ball very well. We'll just throw the ball to him. 2 of 32 for Thomas Bush and a touchdown. 2 of 18 for McNeil. We didn't really pass the ball all that much, but hey, our boy was pinpoint accurate. Didn't throw a pick. Only had 1 incompletion the whole game. But, of course, he only passed the ball 17 times. So you should take that with a grain of salt. And the line did give us some sacks. They did. But we ate. Our defense ate. Brian Madison, 3 sacks. Brian Gillett, 2 sacks. Kitty Moore, a sack. Martindale, a sack. So our defense ate when it came to getting to the quarterback. They ate really, really well. Sullivan made all 3 of his kicks, just like he made all of his kicks in the previous game. We punted once. They punted a lot more than we did. And Thomas Bush ate on the kick returns. So, hey, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. We beat a top team in our conference, and we claimed the throne as the top team in our conference. So that's pretty good for us. Going to week 13, Georgia Southern. This was the revenge tour. Austin Peay State, of course, beat me last year. Just beat me badly in my own house. So we started the revenge tour. We got Austin Peay State. Now it's Georgia Southern's turn to get their asses whipped. And we do what we're supposed to do. We go in there and whip their ass. 18 first downs to 11. 408 yards to 335. Ran the ball pretty well, especially compared to them. Had 3 touchdowns off running the football. Frederick, pinpoint accurate. 25 for 32 and 4 touchdowns. You can't hate on that. 299 yards passing to their 283. We were really good on third down. They were not. And we went for it on 3 times and converted all 3. We had 4 red zone trips, 4 touchdowns. They had 1 red zone trip, 1 field goal. We both turned the football over. Total yards, Dorfman 533 to 344. We punted 3 times. They punted 6 times. We held time possession. We made them punt the ball. And our boy was pinpoint good. 21 of 27, 227 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. So he did throw a pick. But like I said, if you're running the ball pretty good, you don't have to really worry about that. Palmer wasn't great on the yards per carry, but he did score 2 touchdowns. Leroy Davis, 8 for 67, 8.3 yards a carry. Maybe he should have got the ball more. feel bad about that because Leroy Davis, of course, is a senior. He's graduating. Palmer may stay another year. May stay his final year because he's a junior. Don't know if he's going to want to leave early. But if he can get drafted early, I might let him go. I mean, if Palmer wants to leave, I'll let him leave, especially if he can get drafted early. But if his draft stock is kind of low, I'm going to hopefully try to bring him back. Touchdown for Branch. Off a run? Oh, yeah, I remember that. He did have the ball. So we're killing this team. Receiving 9 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown for Palmer. 5 catches, 51 yards for McNeil. 3 of 30 for Benson. Thomas Bush, 2 catches, 62 yards, and both catches were touchdowns. Pretty cool. David Collins, 2 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Pretty cool. Offensive line did a superb job in this game. Defense was eating. Dylan Bell had 2 sacks. Darren Fernandez had a pick. Brian Gillett with a sack. 2 sacks for Brian Madison. Hargrove had a sack. And Harris had a sack. Also a sack for Givens, our backup defensive tackle. Sullivan didn't have to even kick the ball. We punted 3 times. Pretty good punt return by Thomas Bush. And he did really good for me on the punt returns. 6 for 94 yards, 15 yards a return. That's pretty damn good field position right there, which will help you win some games. So we put belt to ass to Georgia Southern. Our last regular season game, of course, on the road against Coastal Carolina, who also beat me last year. Closer game than I imagined it was going to be. They're actually really competitive. Played me pretty good. Pushed me a little bit, like Appalachian State sort of did. They sort of pushed. They did push. But we did end up winning that game. First downs are close. Yards are close. Yards are close. In fact, no, we actually lost the first down war. They had 21 first downs to my 18. We outgained them a little bit. We ran the ball supremely well. 39 carries, 247 yards, 4 touchdowns. Wow. But we did allow some running from them, too. Passed the ball 22 times for a touchdown, 200 yards passing. They had 310 yards passing. They had 2 touchdowns passing. Both teams were really good on third down. Red zone trips, I had 5 red zone trips for 4 touchdowns. They had 4 red zone trips, 3 touchdowns, and a field goal. We did get a turnover off them. We did not turn the football over. That's important. We had 615 yards there, 548. We both punted 3 times, and we did win time possession. This was a closer. They played me really well. I mean, that Martindale kid is going to be good. Not only can he pass the ball, he can run the ball really effectively. And I was throwing my defense off. We couldn't dominate like I wanted to. But, yeah, Frederick had a pretty decent game. 16 of 21, 195 yards, touchdown. Most importantly, no picks. Line held up pretty well. Running the football. Palmer almost had 100 yards in this game. 24 carries, 99 yards, 4.1 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns. Leroy Davis has 6 carries, 106 yards, and had a touchdown. Running game is coming to the fore. These two are eating to end the season. 2 carries, 51 yards for Thomas Bush. Receiving, 6 of 28 for our boy Palmer. McNeil, 4 for 48. Garrett Davison, 3 for 34. And Collins caught a big touchdown pass for 71 yards for a touchdown. Only touchdown pass of the game for the Supercharger. Rogers was the only one who gave a sack. Line did pretty well. Newberry with a sack. Dylan Bell with a sack. 2 sacks for Thompson. Sack for Brian Madison. And they said we forced a fumble, didn't we? Yep, we did. Dylan Bell forced a fumble. Who recovered it? It was Brian Madison who recovered it. Brian Madison eating. Finding ways to eat. 1 field goal for Sammy Sullivan. Didn't really eat him much. Punted 3 times. Thomas Bush is superb on those kick returns. Are you kidding me? 30 yards a return, man. Oh, that's going to win you games every single time, man. When you can do that, you're going to win some games. But I remember that game being testy. We almost didn't win it. Um, Coastal Carolina gave us all we could handle, man. But we get the win. We finished the revenge for tour from last year. We lost to Austin Peay State, Georgia Southern, and Coastal Carolina. We end up getting them all back in the last few weeks of the season, and we end the season without a loss in regular season conference play. And yeah, week 15, there's no Sun Belt games going on there. And then you got the conference championship game versus Furman, a rematch. And this game went as good for them as the first time we played them. We were up 10-3, and then we outscored them only 13-8 in the second half. But the first half was enough to give us a win. We even got a safety. Yeah, we got a safety in the fourth quarter. Pretty dominant performance. Again, our defense is coming to the fore. Our running game is coming to the fore. We're winning at the line of scrimmage. We're no longer this pass-happy offense that just wants to just score 30, 40 points on you. We're happy with 20 because we know we'll still win if we score 20 because our defense is that good. First downs, got them, 323 yards to 189. Ran the ball great. 42 carries, 183 yards. You're kidding me? That's great. 16-25, 2 touchdowns for Frederick. I think it was Frederick, yeah. 140 yards passing on 129, 5 of 14 on third down, but we were pretty bad on third down. They were too. On fourth down, we went for it twice and went for it 3 times, got it twice. We got our 2-point conversion. They had 1 red zone trip, 1 touchdown. We had 4 red zone trips, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Both teams turned the football over. Ours was off a fumble. So Frederick did not throw an interception, but we did force them to throw an interception. Punt yards and kick yards seemed pretty close. Not all that great, but we did outgain them total yards, 428 to 268. Both teams punted 4 times. We won time possession. Frederick had 16 of 25, 140 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the Sun Belt Conference Championship game. He was sacked twice, so the line's holding up pretty well. You're not getting sacked 14 times. I'm always going to go back to that. Tom ran the ball very well, 24 of 122 yards and 5 yards per carry. That's pretty damn good. Roy Davis, 8 for 43, 5.3 yards a carry. Thomas Bush, 3 for 30, 10 yards every time he touched the ball. So you know that's pretty damn good. 6 of 21 for Palmer catching the ball, 5 for 81, 2 touchdowns for McNeil, 2 catches, 22 yards for Bush. Showing up, showing out. Sacks were given up, but it wasn't really that bad. But our defense, Brian Gillett had the game of his life. And he tied a school record with Jonathan Noble. Jonathan Noble was an old defensive player from earlier in the series. He had 4 sacks in the game, and Brian Gillett tied him. He also had 5 tackles for losses. The guy ate. Brian Gillett ate. He's my linebacker of the year, and he earned that award. And his performance just solidified why he got that award. He was really good all year, kind of flew under the radar, but he had a good game, man. Dylan Bell had a pick. He's a senior. He's graduating. Newberry, had a sack. He had a sack. Pretty much the whole game was Brian Gillett. I mean, Brian Gillett was fantastic, man, in this game. And, of course, Dylan Bell. Sullivan made both of his kicks. He punted 4 times. And 3 for 39 for 13 yards for Thomas Bush. Ends our Sun Belt Conference play. We won all our Sun Belt regular season conference games, and we beat Furman to win the Sun Belt Conference Championship. And then we get to bowl season. We beat Nebraska 27-12. No, I couldn't believe that I actually beat Nebraska, but I beat Nebraska. And we got him. 19 first downs to 12, 352 yards to 269. Ran the ball extremely well. Held that Nebraska rushing because that guy rushed for like 1,000 yards, and we held him to minus. We held him down. 21 to 28 for a touchdown. 260 yards passing. 8 of 14. They went 3 of 11. Went for it on fourth down, converted. 5 red zone trips, 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. They had 1 red zone trip, 1 touchdown. Both turned the football over. I lost mine off a fumble. We intercepted theirs. Got him in total yards. Yeah, time of possession. Ronnie Frederick in his last game as the Supercharger quarterback. He is graduating, 19 of 26, 199 yards, and a touchdown. Got sacked only once. Thomas came in for a little bit, not much as far as throwing the ball. 19 of 62, 3.2 yards, 2 touchdowns for our boy Palmer. And he ends up with having the school record for most rushing touchdowns in a season in school history, replacing Tyler Morgan. That's why he mostly got Supercharger Player of the Year, because he was just effective. Whether you gave him the ball, whether you passed him the ball, he was going to make a play, and he did. 8 carries, 40 yards for our boy Leroy Davis, 3 for 15 for Bush. Let's just say here, running game did pretty damn good. Receiving, 9 catches, 48 yards for Palmer. Pretty hot in that game. Did really good. 3 of 47 for McNeil. 2 of 24 for Davidson. And Tanner Bush had a touchdown catch, 2 for 18. But he caught a touchdown. See here, blocking. I gave up that 1 sack. Defensively, Brian Gillett with a sack. TJ France with a pick. Browning with a sack. Frank Morrison with a sack. So our line really did. So the defensive line really did a good job, man. Really did a good job in this game of holding Nebraska, big bad Nebraska down, man. Pretty damn good. 2 of 3 for Sammy Sullivan. Made some kicks. Punted twice. Weird numbers because I think Josh was supposed to be back there, but he fumbled one, and I think McNeil ended up picking up and getting it 14 yards. I don't know why Leroy Davis was back there. But he was back there as far as punt returns. Didn't give us really too much. But we destroyed Nebraska, and we are now Sun Belt Conference champs and Fiesta Bowl champs to end the season. It was a great season. Great season for the Supercharger, you know. Really proud of what we were able to do this year. Didn't see it coming, especially at that Colorado loss. I was like, man, this season may be tougher than I thought it was going to be. But once I figured out, hey, you know, you can't throw interceptions. You don't throw the ball a lot. You got a pretty good running game. Why don't you use it? That's where he went. Recapping season stats. 280 completions out of 383 attempts, 3,073 yards this year, 20 touchdowns, 10 picks, sacked 46 times. But we've got to remember that first game he was sacked 14 times. So you take that game out of the equation, he only got sacked 30-something times. So we corrected a lot of things after the Colorado debacle. But, of course, he did get sacked 6 times in the FCS game. So I was like, man, I had to make some changes, and I think making those changes helped us get this championship and the Fiesta Bowl win. So, 26 to 34, 280 yards, a touchdown, and a pick for Tony Thomas. Like him a lot. I don't think he has the arm strength that Marcus Branch has, though, and I think that's why I'm still going to do the 2 quarterback shuffle I've been doing as of late. Because I think Marcus Branch is more of a pocket passer. He had a good season. Didn't throw a pick. He was 8 for 9, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns. I would put him in there in garbage time. You make plays, man. So he's a good quarterback. Definitely see a future with him. I look at the arm strength. I look at awareness is up at 82. Arm strength, and throw power, throw accuracy is really good. he will improve during the off season, so I could actually see a spot for him. Where's Tony Thomas. Throw power, throw accuracy is all right. He's there. I think I don't want to just say that Tony Thomas won't have a chance. We'll see how the offseason goes, and I'll see if I really want to put him. But I do want to see what Marcus Branch gives us. He's a junior, so he'll be a senior next year. Both of these guys will be seniors, and they'll be the ones taking the reins for Rodney Frederick, because Rodney Frederick is, of course, graduating, and he'll be in Madden 24. Palmer, 246 carries, 1,055 yards, 4.2 yards a carry, 24 touchdowns for our boy. Ate pretty good this year. Had a great season. And that's why he earned Supercharger of the Year. Roy Davis, 82 attempts, 659 yards, 8 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. Thomas Bush did good running for us with the jet sweeps. Touchdown for Davidson, touchdown for Thomas when he run the ball. Chris Nash had 2 touchdown runs, and Marcus Branch had a touchdown run. So we ran the ball really well this year. I was really impressed with the running game, really liked the running game, and I'm hoping that we can continue that going into next year, even though I'm thinking about beefing up sliders. But hey, sometimes, I don't look at it like, okay, we ran the ball really well. I need to beef up the sliders. I think we got pretty much good gameplay. Hell, my running game is still not ranked as high as other teams. You got those other teams like Navy who run the ball like for 3,000 yards. We'll never do that because that's not the type of team I really want. I want to just run the ball and just all the time. But it's good to have the running game, man. It makes things so much easier when you're trying to win. And you can't turn the ball over running the ball, unless you fumble, of course. But you're more likely to turn the ball over throwing the ball everywhere. Palmer had 106 catches, 806 yards, and 4 touchdowns. We're getting to the point where we just dump the ball off to the back a lot more, and he got to eat because of that. Still didn't beat McNeil in yards. 63 catches, 832 yards, and 3 touchdowns for him, our leading receiver. 41 catches, 610 yards for Bush, 7 touchdowns. Benson had 35 catches, 394 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Davison had 18 catches, 248 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Roy Davis had 14 catches, 135 yards, and a touchdown. Jake Scott, 13 catches, 222 yards, and a touchdown. And 12 catches and 239 yards, and 2 touchdowns for David Collins. Really good receiver. 5 catches, 115 yards for Chris Nash. And a touchdown for Jay Royal. 3 catches, 30 yards, and a touchdown for him. Who gave up the most sacks this year? Pretty much it was Ronnie Cox, who's going to be a senior next year. I think he'll be improved. I do got Vincent Coleman on there, but I might let him go. But I think he can do better this year. He might do better next year. Because Vincent Coleman got a lot of the blame for the team struggling earlier in the season, but it wasn't just him. But he was giving up a lot of sacks early. So, don't know if I'll bring him back. Same time, you want to celebrate these guys. Steve DeAngelis, he's graduating. Ernest Hall's graduating. Probably one of the best tackles I've had on the team. Lee Rogers, he's graduating. Gave up 7 sacks, though, this year. Not good. But he's graduating. Andrew Floyd's graduating. Yeah. Defensively, best defense of all time in my Supercharger series. Definitely one of the top defenses I ever had. Newberry, 4 sacks and interception. Bell, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, 11 sacks, and 19 tackles for loss for Brian Gillett. Only 1 interception for TJ France. That interception, of course, happened against Nebraska. 4 interceptions for our boy Terrence Reynolds, corner of the year. Darren Fernandez had 2 interceptions. Bolton had an interception. 13 sacks for Brian Madison, who will likely lead. He leads the team in sacks and will likely lead the country in sacks. He won the Lombardi Award. 6 sacks for Will Golden. Sack for Kenny Moore, who plays that dime look I always have. Sometimes I send him on a blitz. He got home like once, but he makes plays. It ain't always in the stats, but some of these guys just make plays you can't even account for, man. Martindale with a sack. 6 sacks for Frank Morrison, who's graduating. Antoine Anderson had a pick. He's a senior. He graduating. Senior Andre Givens had a sack. Interception by Travis Graves, who's just a freshman. Glad he's coming back. He's going to be a big playmaker for me. John Thompson's got more time. He had 4 sacks this year in cleanup duty, so that's pretty good for him. E.J. Ross, who I didn't know existed. He's a corner from Mississippi. He'll be a senior next year. He had 1 pick. 2 sacks for Jonathan Harris, who's still a sophomore. So we got these guys in waiting. We're going to have big years. A lot of underclassmen, man. A lot of good underclassmen in this year, man, that made plays that are just waiting to be the stars coming up. Sack for Demeek Gray, who is a redshirt freshman defensive tackle. But great defense. We have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 11, 13, 14. 14 interceptions, man. We got 14 interceptions this year. That's the most interceptions I've had probably since the series started. I'm glad to see it, too, because I was begging for it. We need to force turnovers. And we did this year. So I'm proud of that. Sullivan. Takes a while for the kicking thing to get up. Going long in this video, too. That's almost an hour and 30 minutes. 25 attempts, 19 made. He was good on his field goal kicks. A lot better than the guy that Jamal Samuel, the guy that he replaced. In the end, I'm glad I cut Samuel and went to my freshman Sullivan. He is a true freshman, and he did a great job. And, in fact, earned Special Teams Player of the Year. Punting, Swanson only punted 36 times. Now, if you look at it from a Sun Belt's perspective, you had Olden Rice punt 75 times. He punted the least. So that's good. That shows that shows a defense that's actually working. Our defense is actually working. Kick returns, 27 returns, 775 yards for our boy Thomas Bush on the kick returns. Pretty damn good. I just wish he broke one or a couple. Wish he did, but it didn't happen. Punts, 43 punt returns, 453 yards. Pretty good year for our boy Thomas Bush returning kicks. Good job. And then we look at team stats. We'll just go to Sunbelt. Columbia State offensively wins the day. Of course, we have not simmed yet, so I kind of feel bad even looking at the stats because we haven't simmed the bowl games yet. Right now, we're top offense because we haven't simmed that, so I got to sim it in order to look at that stuff. But that was the year, man. It was great, you know. We had record breakers. Frederick had 72 touchdowns, passes in his career. That's our school record. He also has the most career passing yards. So Frederick is doing his thing, man. He had a great, great career. And he ends with a conference championship and a big bowl win. So he did his thing. And, of course, our boy Jake Palmer has 24 rushing touchdowns. That is a record that Tyler Morgan held for 12 seasons. And now it's Palmer's. So, record-breaking year, great year, best defense ever, an actual running game. And you get a magical season. Guys, we're an hour and 30 minutes in. I'd like to thank anyone who paid attention to this series. This is for you. Even if it's only a few of you, I'm glad you came and watched my series, man. It's been a great series, and I'm not stopping. I see a lot of big conference realignments happening, and Columbia State will most likely be in the Big 12 in a year or two. But I don't want to just leave the Sun Belt just yet. We got unfinished business, and I just think that this conference I really like the conference I'm in, but I'm excited about what we can do if we get in the Big 12. I mean, and we're going to play more Big 12 teams. I think in the offseason, I'm definitely going to schedule a Big 12 team for us to play next year in year 17 and see what we can do. But it was a great year. A lot of bad things happened during this year. A lot of good things happened this year. But this was one of the best things that happened to me this year was this series. It just encourages me to keep going and to keep plugging away. And especially because I have the universe I want. Yes, the new college football game does have the playoff. But the new college football game would not let something like this happen on their game. I can't go 8 years in with the Columbia State Supercharger on College Football 25. They will cut the servers off, and what I built is gone. Here I can keep building, and I love it, even if I don't have a playoff. But I think now it's time to turn our attention on trying to win a national championship. So whatever I need to do, I basically have to go undefeated. But if I go to the Big 12 and lose a game, I could still be in the conversation for a national championship. But I do think that Columbia State still got more work to do in the Sun Belt. Um, um, we haven't won two conference championships in a row yet. That's something I want to see us do. Can we win another Sun Belt Conference championship? Hell, can we come out of Sun Belt Conference championship and be and qualify to go to the national championship game? I think it can happen. But I want to see this team win consistently in the Sun Belt. Be a consistent winner in the Sun Belt, and then you make the jump to the Big 12. That's what I kind of want to see. So that's what I'll be thinking about and working on from there. But there, guys, that is the season recap video. First time I'm doing it for you guys on YouTube. Can't do it on Facebook, so I'm posting it on YouTube. You guys have a great holiday, great Christmas. After Christmas, I'm going to do the off-season video. But guys, thank you all. Thank you. Best season ever. I put it up there with the Year 5 team. The Year 5 team didn't win a conference championship, though, but I really felt close to that team. And I feel about the same feelings about that team as I feel about this team. This team was special. And hometown hero, Jake Palmer, Brian Gillett, a lot of great players, man, that are just part of the history of this great program. Go Big Green. We're not settling. I want a conference championship next year in the Sun Belt. I want us to play MTSU. I want us to win our conference again. And I want us to have an opportunity to play for a national championship as a Sun Belt conference team. I think that may put your stamp on your program if you do that. But we'll have to see, man. Year 17. Got to see. All right, guys. Much love. You have great holidays. Enjoy yourselves. And happy 2026 to everybody. See you guys later. Peace. Go Big Green. Go Big freaking Green.